Okay guys, in today's video, which is part 2 of the series on securing your internet presence online and protecting your privacy, I'm going to explain to you why you need to dump Windows. Right? That, after the virtual private network, which is an easy thing to implement, excuse me, the next thing is not as easy to implement as you need to ditch Windows. Now, ditching Windows can be a little bit of a complicated thing to do, but it just depends really on what you have been using Windows for. The first step in the process of getting rid of Windows is realizing you're going to need to back up all of your important information. Now, by important information, I'm not talking about your programs. Right? You are going to sacrifice your programs for either Linux versions of the programs, which many of the good programs out there are available for Linux as well, so it's a new download, but the actual data itself, your Word documents, these types of things. Right? So the best thing you could do to start with before you even consider it is back up that folder. Right? Back up your pictures, back up your videos, get all of that stuff somewhere else. Even at this point, if you're using Dropbox to store it. Right? We're going to get into better cloud solutions than Dropbox in these series as well, but we got to start somewhere. Now, why do you need to ditch Windows? Aside from the fact that Windows is a bloated piece of trash, and let's face it, every time you update Windows, it gets slower. I know that when I finally decided that Windows was history, it was taking me up to 5 minutes before I could actually use my laptop on a boot up. Now, my laptop is not old, it's 3 years old, and that is ancient in the world of technology. However, I'm not a gamer. Okay? My needs for resources on a laptop are very, very low. And in reality, an operating system shouldn't be affecting my ability to surf the internet, my ability to upload and download files, do email, and work with documents. Yeah, I do record video, obviously, and right now I'm not adding trailers and things like that to the video, but I will be in the future. Right now we're just doing them to get the information out there. But that became an absolute nightmare as Windows bloated up. Now, what makes Windows so bloated? Well, first off, if you go into your Start menu, you're going to see a whole bunch of junk in there that you have never once looked at. Go have a look. Click that Start menu. Do you play those games that are all in there? Look at it. Yeah, Xbox is even in there. I don't own an Xbox, but I can't get rid of Xbox. I will never own an Xbox. I'm not someone who is interested in video game. I mean, plain and simple. But it's there anyway. Now, all of this stuff that is in there, in that horrendous Microsoft Store, all of this stuff ties up resources because it's written into the registry. There are parts of it that are loaded that you do not need because you will never need them. So that drags down your system. Right? It drags down your system tremendously. If you're using bloatware like anything from Adobe, see, Adobe and Microsoft have something in common. They both have such an enormous amount of market share that they don't have to produce a good product anymore. Right? Because you're hooked on Adobe Acrobat. I've never liked Adobe Acrobat. I've used it very sparingly. I mean, if I was a professional photographer or something related to that field, and I know nothing about those fields, and I thought Premiere was an absolute piece of garbage. Right? Premiere, while it would render my videos a little bit faster than what I was using under Windows, I couldn't do anything else with the computer at that point in time. Right? Because even if I, went and switched Windows, if I left a browser open when I was doing it, and I went and switched to Windows, it would just hang up the system. Okay? And what am I running on? I'm running on. I'm only running on 4 gig of RAM currently. I'm going to pop myself up to 8 very shortly. But my processor is 4 core, 3 gigahertz. Right? there's no reason for that, except for the fact that there is a link, of course, between these companies and getting more hardware put out there. And I'm all in favor of more hardware. I'm all in favor of faster hardware. But I'm not in favor of monopolizing markets the way these companies do. Now, anything that runs in Windows, you can get some type of version to run in Linux, and it runs faster. Okay? Some awesome software now available for Linux, and the gaming industry is even now going, yeah, we need to get involved. In about 90% or 90% plus of the 5-star games that people play are now ported to Linux in some fashion, and within the next year, everything will be. There will be no longer be this difference between there, and your gaming experience is far faster. But none of that has to do with security and privacy. First thing, Microsoft spends all of its time, whether you like it or not, and a lot of resources sending telemetry data back to Microsoft for the usage of the machine. You can turn it off, it gets turned back on. And you can never turn it completely off. You can turn off certain elements of it. I've gone through those settings and I've turned everything off, had a Windows update, gone back, turned them off again because it turns them all back on. And you've got to realize that you're leasing this software. You have no rights when you run Windows. They do. And they tell you it in the terms of service. Right? All you got to do is read through that lease agreement that you have with them, and you will see how much control they have over it. Now, not only are they using your bandwidth to collect their data about you, but there are even keyloggers that are in there. So yes, when you're typing in your password on your keyboard for various things, Microsoft sees it. Now, it gets down to the question is, okay, can you trust Microsoft to see that stuff? Now, personally, no. I wouldn't trust Microsoft with anything. I've had problems with Microsoft over the years. And I haven't had problems with Microsoft over the years because of something I've done. There's lots of people out there who hate Microsoft because they pirated their software and got caught. I've not done that. Right? I've had problems with Microsoft because they're corrupt. Plain and simple. Yeah, I know I'm not supposed to say that, but I can give examples. I've had 2 incidences in the last 18 months of charges from Microsoft against credit cards and against PayPal accounts that I could not reverse because you can't reverse them again. I was told by my bank, I'm sorry, we'll change your credit card so they can't do it again, but there's nothing we can do. What the fuck do you mean there's nothing we can do? This is a bogus charge. And the same, I did put a dispute in with PayPal about it, and it was overturned within minutes. No. Right? And that was a hack. Okay, so, yeah, nothing Microsoft can ever do. Microsoft could refund that money to me 1,000 times over. There's nothing they can do that would ever make me trust them again. Nothing. I am Microsoft free. Now, aside from that, when Windows Update comes and it bloats up your hard drive with usually about 3 gig you don't need, because it's all security patches because the code is so badly written. Right? When you do your update, first off, it does not delete that data. Right? It leaves everything there. Now, you can now set up Windows Cleanup to periodically clean out this data, but I've had data in the update directories I could not get rid of. I have actually had to go into a safe mode Windows prompt boot to get rid of some of this stuff, right, as it's chewing up hard drive space. But that's beside the point. That is there because they will share your bandwidth with other people to do the updates so they can do the updates quicker. So if you're on a capped system and you're running Windows, you are paying your cable company, your internet provider, whatever it is, for data that's being used by Microsoft to update their products for someone else. And yes, you can turn that off. But guess what? It gets turned back on. The next thing is Windows has a backdoor. And it's a backdoor they have known about since Windows 95, and they've refused to close it because it's there on purpose. It is there so they can go onto your computer from the back end and do things. Now, you would hope that these things would be all above board. And let's suppose that Microsoft is completely above board on what they're doing with that backdoor. If it's there and everybody knows it, you don't think you got hackers going that direction? Better believe you do. And it's not hard to get in. Now, years and years ago, I had a Windows issue, right, in which I had contacted Microsoft. This was the Windows XP days. Back when you could actually make a phone call and get some help with it. Okay? I don't exactly remember what the problem was specifically, because it was a long time ago. But when I got the tech guy on the phone, he said, well, listen, what I'm going to do is I'm going to send you a file by email. You execute that, and I will go in the back door, and I'll fix the problem for you because I know exactly what it is. Right? And what this particular file did was it made it easy for them to find you, because talking to somebody on the phone and finding your IP address on the internet are not completely different things. So this little file called home, and the buddy could go in there and he could do it. Right? Now, I don't think that they still offer that kind of service unless you're a major company. But, yeah, no, I disagreed with that one. I said, no, it's okay, I'll figure it out. Give me an idea what it is. Well, it's a problem in the registry. Okay, that's fine. I just went and reinstalled XP, I think it was, to fix the problem, whatever the problem was. But that's there on purpose. Linux doesn't have that. There is no backdoor. Period. Right? There is no way for somebody to sneak in the back way and get on your system. Now, you can set the system up so that there is a backdoor. And on servers, there is something called an SSH server that is put on there, like my servers for my cloud services, my VPN, as well as the QShow products that I do, which is a different server. They all have an SSH server on them because I use it to go in and do work, because I have to do maintenance on the servers, and it's just the easiest way for me to do it. However, you can't get in that backdoor because it's secured, because the only way to get in through that is with encryption keys. Okay? It's not a general open backdoor. Now, people try all the time. I get the log files of all the people trying to get in there, but no, it's not password protected. You can't brute force it. Right? These are just some of the reasons that you need to walk away from Windows, because it is going to get worse. Okay? You have to understand something about your privacy today that you've probably never understood before, and even after I say it, you may not still get it. Data, your data, my data, Buddy Next Door's data, is now the world's most valuable commodity. It is more valuable than oil. Now, I want you to think of the 20th century. You may not have been alive in the 20th century. You may have been very small. But I went through 40 years of the 20th century. Pretty much all of the wars that existed, all the violence that existed in the world, all the turmoil that existed in the world, the majority of it had something to do with oil. Okay? Or something to do with the method in which oil was paid for. Okay? Even today, there's a lot of bloodshed over oil. So you can imagine the potential for problems now with data. You're looking in your city at 5G coming in to your city. 5G is an untested technology. Untested as in it is untested with regards to the health of the population that are exposed to it. The technology itself has been tested very well. They know how well it works. And it has been weaponized. Right? 5G has been used, I believe it is in China. I could be wrong on that, but the information is available. In the future, I will put references to this type of information. But right now, I'm trying to get information out to you. But as I get more information out to you, we'll start to put references in for different things. But, excuse me, 5G has been weaponized. One of the things that it does very, very well is it causes pain, it causes headache, and will disperse crowds. So people, when they have problems with violence in crowds, they will aim these microwaves at the people, and it will cause them to disperse because of the tremendous pain in their head. They will try to run from the pain, right? But we're going to put this on every street corner a couple times over to improve internet speed. Now, why are we doing that? Do you really think that this is the phone companies specifically and the people above the phone companies? Do you really think this is because they want you to be able to stream a movie faster? Of course not. They're collecting data. Right? The amount of data that they want to collect, especially now with the Internet of Things coming in with your smart TV and your smart toilet paper, they want to collect data, and they need that kind of bandwidth to do it. It doesn't matter what the cost of that is. Right? What can you do about it? Nothing. Unfortunately. It's already too late to stop something like that from coming. There are countries like Israel and Belgium, I believe it's Belgium, who will not be upgrading to 5G. The governments have outlawed it. They believe that it's dangerous because it has not been properly tested. I fully agree with that. Okay. In the United States and Canada, it's rolling out as fast as they can get it. Right? It's not for you. Right? It's to collect your data. You've got to protect your data. We're going to have videos on protecting your data on these things too, so don't worry about that. Now, below in the links, you're going to find, once again, a link to the VPN that I use. If you're not running a VPN, if you don't do anything else today, do that. Get on a VPN. That is critical. And I'm going to leave you a link down below to a Linux distribution. I want you to go take a read of it. If you're experimental, download the ISO for it. You can put it on you can burn it onto a thumb drive, and you can boot on it from your laptop, so you can play with Linux without having to actually install it on your system. Okay? And in a subsequent video, we are going to be getting into a tutorial on how to install Linux. That will be in a different series of videos. This is one basically just on the things you need to do to make sure that your private information stays private. Thanks for watching, guys. We'll catch you in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel and click the notification bell, because you know darn well that if you don't click that notification bell, you're not going to know about the new videos, because YouTube's algorithms don't seem to work very well for the content that interests most people. Have a great day. Ciao.